seeing these players in action. I said this at the start. They've not been broadcasting or recording their games. It's been private, it's been just to them, because no one wants to show their strats. But here comes a slash and a Sorlag. Okay.
That is a complete difference, and looks like Miasma going towards the traditional composition we saw beforehand, perhaps finishing things off with the Nyx as that fourth, maybe. That's going to be an assumption based on what we saw before, but already a Sorlag, Anarchy, and a Slash.
That's already a complete change of pace from what we saw before. Sorlag and Slash will both naturally have an amazing way of defending their own obelisk, because that is a lot of area denial. And because we haven't seen a single chunky champion on the side of Miasma, if they walk into a plasma trail or if they walk into acid, they are 100% done.
I don't even want to imagine how much damage a plasma trail and the acid is going to do together when used on the same moment. I mean, that will require coordination, and obviously we see a lot of different moments when they sort of compete for that obelisk, so you can only do that at the same time once every... I mean, what's the cooldown, right? Plasma trail's 30, and I believe the acid spit is a bit longer.
They're very similar, actually. Very, very similar to one another. But here we go. It's going to be Miasma versus 2Z.
So DDK going to be running on that Blaskovic, so he's going to be one of the token fragging champions for sure.
Well, the thing about DDK is not only is he a very talented commentator, he is unbelievably talented at arena FPS. So going with Blaskovic, we saw him go with Blaskovic every single time during the qualifiers as well. He's got good aim, and Blaskovic complements that.
So I do believe that Miasma's final pick was Sorlag, so both teams will have access to that tanky champion. One course is actually able to secure the soul already. That's going to be Slash, and they're going to be choosing to go for Obelisk A.
I feel like they're going to have a lot of freedom when it comes to running the soul, because 2Z have both Anarchy and Slash together. I mean, they're still totally BFFs, it makes sense. But I mean, like the fact that either one of them getting the soul will be able to deliver it very effectively.
Juvenile trying to go in, but Latromi is there to stop him. Frags for frag.
It begins!
Here is that classic. There are so many deaths in Sacrifice, but it's all about where you spawn and how you deal with that as a team. And a nice jump from Liths to be able to control this one back down again. Only 40% on the board for Suzy.
That was really, actually, very, very clean. Now Miasma with that soul, but completely surrounded by members of 2Z, looking to try and return it. Claws taking big damage, but I mean, she's going to be moving really quickly, and she's airborne getting hit by the LG. She's going to get that speed boost. Demon chases.
Yeah, he was just chased the ends of the earth.
And
Demon's able to get it back.
So many members of 2Z decided to head towards the obelisk and meet them. I don't think they were prepared for Claws to die and have the teleporter go around the other end.
Oh wow, that's a lot of damage coming through. DDK stuck in a bit of a hard place here, but it's going to get a return frag. Probably going to die to the acid ticking. Yes, he will. Silent Zep is going to take it down. Demon going to try and drop this one back off to B, so this should get a little bit closer to evening things out with 2Z, but at this point in the match, low amount of percentage doesn't mean too much.
Things get a little bit dangerous. In 15 seconds, the first power-up of this map is going to spawn, and no doubt that is where the fight will take. But now they make a choice. Do we deliver the soul, or do we go for the power-up? Because they've delivered the soul here, but this has allowed Miasma to try and sort of gravitate towards that power-up, and it's likely they're going to get it first. Look at how many members are surrounding it. It's going to be quad damage.
Here's quad damage. I believe it's gone to the side of Latromi, so 2Z actually have the quad, and it is on the Anarchy.
And he's just popped the injection. Still vulnerable to a single rail, though. No armor yet. They've taken the soul, but with a quad damage Anarchy chasing it down. It's unlikely, but he goes down. Demon takes out one. Liths gets another.
And here's that token quad damage trade. We see this a lot with this power-up. You will almost guaranteed die when you've picked it up, because you just become public enemy number one. Question is, how much damage can you do before that happens? And it looks like 2Z have controlled this quad damage the whole time. 3 of their team have picked it up during this one section of it.
And it's given them a chunky amount of percentage, now beyond 40. Liths with the finish, but I mean, Claws had done so much damage there and got so many frags. That was definitely a well-spent life.
And 2Z have really stabilized this round so far. Oh, wow. There's the gauntlet kill coming through.
Well, it's not going to be just Anarchy that's going to be really effective with those gauntlets. I mean, now Slash also. Here comes the plasma trail, the area denial that we did talk about beforehand. Not really put into practice that much, but I think just using it just in case Sorlag survives.
Looks like Miasma struggling to get anywhere near this obelisk at the moment. Not even just taking it back. They're not letting them anywhere near.
Because it's not just a matter of 2Z sitting on the obelisk itself. They're kind of really commanding that kind of mid-range. Not even allowing them near the entryway here. And it's the Sorlag up top. Sorlag has not moved since just now. Like, just staying up there the whole time.
Commentators, instant shot though. Demon falls. Claws on point. Someone manages to sneak through. And a point-blank rail. Claws has been really just on the mark.
This is looking to be a fantastic round. It's just been nice coordination. The power-up's going to spawn. There is no other option there. And Miasma, they kind of need to secure this power-up if they even have time. But they've died so often. It actually looks like 2Z might take this power-up quite comfortably.
I mean, you say about the power-up, 2Z have 7% left to go before they take the round. And what could potentially be under 5 minutes.
Claws on the verge of going down, but all Claws needs to do really is just waste some time. Luminous with the finish. Tactical suicide just so they can trade it over, but to be honest, doesn't matter at all. 2Z take that first round very, very convincingly.
That was a strong start, and this was the map that 2Z went for, and you know, like we heard ZSX say before on the desk beforehand, this is a map that Miasma were saying that they're not that comfortable and confident at the same time. They're not that confident on. So not going to be a huge surprise to see them lose this with that information in mind, but they do have a couple rounds left to at least maybe make this one back.
I feel like with so many players per team, I mean, this is no longer a 1 versus 1. Struggle maps are almost inevitable. Actually, it looks like we've had some form of issue here. One of the players, I think it actually is indeed Latromi, has sort of raised a hand. So admins will be dealing with whatever is going on right now. We'll keep you guys informed. I'm not sure if the match will continue. Latromi also has a... Oh, okay, so he has a crash. Very unfortunate, but looks like we're going to go for a round restart is what I'm assuming. But we'll fill you guys in.
Well, I mean, I know fortunately might not be the best word to use here, but fortunately it happened right at the start, yep. So it's not a horrific place for it to happen.
If you're going to crash, you're going to crash right at the beginning and not halfway through.
Better to happen before the round has actually started than, you know, right in the middle. Much more convenient that way. But regardless, you know, let's talk for a little while about how this has gone so far. A convincing round one. Different champion choices completely from the first series, which I hope reigns true through most of today. You know, we've got very different teams here of different levels of experience, both LAN and the game itself. Obviously, nationalities are a big thing too, so I'd like to see quite diverse teams.
We've already seen 2 series, and there's already been quite a diverse pick in the champion pool itself. The team can... we're seeing why Slash got selected too, right? I think that's a humongous element here, is that Slash, you kind of theorycraft, you would see her so little. You would think, well, why don't we see Slash? You know, because she does this, she does that. Plasma Trail is effective for both speed and sort of area denial as well. But it's nice that we've actually finally been able to see it put into use. You know, we've actually seen
quite early too,
effectively used,
and seemingly not like a desperation pick either. You know, it's not something that someone's just going to try on their last match just in case to see if it works. Like, this was a no hesitation. This is the map. This is the lineup we're going with, and it has worked wonders at the moment. Slash just being, as soon as she pops that plasma trail, you know, when she retains that speed, you know, that's, for those of you watching, she is a Quake form movement character. She has that crouch slide. When you crouch in the air, you retain your movement when you land, and it means that you can just zip around incredibly fast, especially considering she isn't the squishiest champion in the game. And now the recent buff giving her 25 armor on spawn, making her a little bit less vulnerable every time you find her, has seemingly done wonders for her.
So just to give you guys a quick update, we unfortunately had a technical issue on the stage, and we're going to be fixing that as soon as possible and getting us back into the second round as fast as possible. So Ruins of Sarnath, I think it's a map that is fantastic for both Sorlag and Slash, and we pretty much saw that put into use. A main sort of choke point, which you have no choice really but to go through, is that middle ground where it's sort of where Rail was located. You've got that top area near Mega. That's kind of like a real funnel point for many different champions. And we consistently saw 2Z with that Sorlag on that one location for most of the round. That was where Sorlag was situated, and every time someone goes through there, if you have a rocket or if you have an LG and acid spit, that's pretty much a death zone to go through.
Sorlag is just a great defender. It's just area denial, damage, and the health. A very difficult champion to quickly kill. You know, I mean, I know that kind of is quite rich considering how many frags we see, but if you're just talking about how individual champions are to take down, when Sorlag is there and Sorlag is stacked and defending and in a situation where she knows where you're going to be coming from, because you have to attack, right? You have to come at my obelisk some way. You have to come through one of these doors, and if she is there waiting at the door, I mean, that is almost like the gate guardian of the situation.
Well, I mean, the thing about Sorlag as well, we talked about this yesterday, and for those that are just watching today, a little bit of food for thought. Sorlag pretty much the tankiest champion in the game now, because Clutch lost some of his health. Sorlag has still retained the 150 health with the 100 armor. When she's fully stacked up, she is very hard to deal with. So she was already a good defender before, and now I feel like there is even more reason to select her throughout these maps. Maybe not every single map out there, even though, you know, an obelisk is an obelisk, but on a map like Sarnath, where it's the obelisk that we just
Well,
saw.
map number 2 is going to be Lockbox.
Exactly,
And
that's what I was
we've
talking
already seen how powerful Sorlag could be on that map. That the acid being so prominent around and her being immune to that does help her in that situation. But also Lockbox being a map with a lot of tight corridors, not as much space to run around, especially in comparison to Ruins.
And a very unique element to Sorlag is her passive. Immune to acid. You may just think that just applies in a Sorlag mirror match where the initial damage of the acid is just a projectile in itself, so that will do damage regardless.
On impact, it will.
But she doesn't take the tick damage of acid from another Sorlag. That may sound like a very, very specific, almost why does it exist passive, but if she's on Lockbox, she stands in the acid and it does nothing. She's the only champion that does not get hurt by acid on Lockbox.
And there's a lot of it around too, especially near both points. So it can help you, especially with you see how much damage it can do quite quickly if you get almost like knocked into it. I know it might seem quite easy on paper to just not walk in the acid, but at the same time, if you get knocked into it, that's guaranteed damage that she doesn't have to worry about.
Well, I mean, Flora's lava, right? We've seen that enough on a Corrupted Keep with the lava. People get knocked into it and they die, and it's like, well, I mean, I just landed on damaging floor. What can I do about that?
Right, so currently in this first map, we are 1 round up for 2Z. That was quite convincing, the nice selection. Just working well together, and it really came down to when they were able to get that final defend and just hold off those particular choke points.
Well, they definitely have to try and keep it together and take the next few rounds. Being 1 round down is going to be difficult for Miasma, but they're definitely an experienced team. While we get this issue under wraps, we're going to throw you guys to an interview with Zoot.
Yes, thanks very much. Yeah, we've got a few minutes, so we'll steal them away from the game while it gets reset. Zoot's with us from yesterday. Obviously, you played in the 1v1s. We won't dwell on that too much, as I know you don't want to talk about it too much, but let's just reflect back while we've got a moment. What stood out for you? Who was a surprise? Who did well? Who were the players that went through that you maybe didn't think might get through?
Well, I think actually a lot of people might have been surprised with Avex's performance, managing to get straight through actually into the Quake World Championships. Another couple of surprises, I think, are Victor and Razy, them getting through. I mean, it's harsh to call them no-namers when you compare them to the likes of Cooler and other players like that, but them being able to sneak through, make it to QuakeCon, I think it's an unbelievable achievement, and it shows that there's at least some growth going on within the scene in the undergrowth.
Yeah, that's really important as well, isn't it? I mean, Victor, I think we call him like, he's a Quake Champions player, rather than he used to be a Quake 3 player, or a Quake 2 player, a Quake 1 Doom player, whatever. So quite nice to see him come through. In terms of sacrifice, well, obviously it started today. Some people are seeing this for the first time. They're kind of looking at it going, wow, this is kind of hectic and it's, it's crazy and stuff. You and I spoke a little bit before we came on about, it's odd to me that there's a lot of TDM players playing it, a lot of old DM players playing it, and not so many CTF players. Because for me, at least looking at it as a fairly noob guy towards it, it looks like it lends itself better to CTF players.
Yeah, it's true, because you've got that objective. It's not like you've got 2 flags, but it's almost like there's not enough objectives for those CTF players to get in. You still need that fragging power within the map. So maybe for the time being, you're seeing a few more TDM players. Aside from Euronics Gaming, then I can't really think of people where there's a huge purebred CTF background. So it's slightly unusual, but maybe it shows what there is to come yet, rather than what we're getting right now in the early stages.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because this is going to change and evolve. Are you looking forward to the next 12 months, seeing where this all pans out?
Honestly, I've been racking my brains trying to figure out what on earth could possibly be happening. But it's so exciting at the same time, because that uncertainty is almost as nerve-wracking as it is exciting. And I honestly can't wait to see what's going to unfold.
And in terms of what we've got going on today, there are some favourites and some slightly weaker teams. You said earlier on the desk you think maybe 7 of these teams could get out of here. Yeah. Let me put another question to you, a little bit cheeky. If those 3 that don't make it were qualifying in North America, would they get through?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh dear.
Actually, all 8 would get through. So.
You're just stirring up the beef now between NA and EU. I like it. We've always had why have we had this rivalry? Because a lot of new people watch and they'll be thinking, why are they talking about this NA-EU rivalry? Because it's been there for a long time, mainly because of geography more than anything else, because they obviously all played in North America and we all played in Europe. No one really crossed that border very much, did we? So when we did, there was always that, how do we get on against the Americans? How do they get on to us Europeans?
No, exactly. And I think it's something that's across a lot of esports games at the same time, but it's always been that rivalry where QuakeCon and other international lands have been the place where really the North Americans and the Europeans can fight it across with each other. But I think at the moment in Quake Champions, we're in a state at the moment where the Europeans have been, not that the North Americans haven't been active, but the Europeans, they've had a lot more competitive games to play over the last couple of years in Quake Live, and it's really fed itself so much smoother moving into this game. And it's difficult honestly not to trash talk at this stage, and I think I'm waiting for the Quake World Championships to really show us, okay, are we being silly? Is there any point to us trash talking the way it is, or are we totally justified in the results?
And let's not forget, the reigning champion and the champion that's won QuakeCon more than anyone else is actually an American player, so we've still got a little bit of way to get.
I mean, they cling on to that as much as they possibly can, basically, but I think we've got a lot of power behind us. People say that because Rafa maybe doesn't have the most amazing practice potential in North America, that this time actually a European's going to say, but that's been said in the past as well. One thing I'll always give the North Americans is that they have Shane Hendrickson, who is just such a phenomenal player, and you can never doubt his ability to get to a grand final.
All right, thanks very much, Zoot. We're going to head back to our commentary zone here, and the game is almost upon us.
So, just giving you guys an update. We're going to go for we're going to go straight back into the map. It's going to be 2Z up 1 round. And we're going to basically go straight back into it with those conditions. And that's the conditions we left it on before the technical issue occurred. So it's going to be 1 round for 2Z, miasma having to take 2 straight. This is a map they've openly said they're not particularly comfortable in. And it's starting to show, but also, I feel like it is a map that 2Z themselves might be very comfortable in, because that team composition is not what we expected.
But the way they're playing the map, it doesn't look like they're playing to miasma's weaknesses. They're playing to their own strengths. I think it almost like just fortunately happened to be that this is a map that miasma don't like. So it just happens to sort of match up that it's a map that they love, and miasma happen to not like it. So it's like match made in heaven, really, for 2Z. However, there is still 2 rounds potentially back left on the board for miasma. If they can sort of turn this one around and end up taking the map, I can imagine no better confidence boost going into the map that they chose than knowing they won the map that they didn't want to play.
It's going to be a complete flip. We're going to go straight back into this one. Just to remind everyone, for the last time at home, we've gone in for a run back here. But 2Z, even if the game doesn't say it, they're up 1 round.
Right, so starting things again. Last time it was Obelisk A, I believe, that 2Z were able to just seize control of immediately. Whether they can get it again, we'll be seeing soon. 20 seconds is going to be spawning. Oh, the slash steal with the plasma trail.
The Tromi has access to it, but he fumbles his jump, which means that's going to be an absolute free frag. Let's on the run back, trying to deliver. If they can deliver first, it's a better start than they had before.
But they opted to go for B. They chose B. They were closer to A, but Liz opted to go back round just to take this one down. So
look at just the assault from 2Z. That was a 4-man attack, and they already have the soul back. Looking to gravitate towards Rocket, being headed off by Miasma, but Luminous with the chase down to prevent any kind of chase at all.
The entire squad appeared in force, but it looks like Miasma are here already. Juvenile looking to take this soul back and put it straight back where it belongs.
And now, as you can see here, 2Z once more, they're going to take a little bit of time to collect that heavy armor. So they're going to be a little bit more healthy, and Anarchy with heavy armor trying to take a point. It's going to be a bit of a headache with how fast he moves, but this is a much better start. The defensive acid connects, claws with the rail, 2 rails, the extra on DBK.
Looks like 2Z managed to seize this soul back off again, but very low is the soul carrier. But he has his friends here to try and stop him, but there's the quick teleport. Demon dies, though, trying to stop him. And looks like there's a couple of people of miasma here trying to stop. So he was able to actually drop it down, but he's going to lose it straight away. So back and forth.
Juvenile with the pass just in case, but unfortunately giving it to Silence. Pass straight back to Juvenile. Silence probably just trying to get rid of it, but passing it to the enemy. That can happen more often than some players like, I think.
DBK was rating. Actually, I love the use of that plasma trail there, though. Just trying to not let them run straight up to the stairs. The area denial doing a lot of work. Oh, the shred.
Shredder. Now the power-up spawns in 3 seconds, so they're going to get a little bit of percentage here, I think. But it's going to be Quad. Luminous with the quad damage. They need to kill him as fast as physically possible.
Fortunately for miasma, they are holding onto the obelisk, but here is a quad damage on the way. Able to drop the soul, so he's not going to die on the way just yet. But he is going to be the one to kill with both the soul and the quad damage. Going to drop it off safely. All of the members of 2Z here ready to defend. Can they assume the positions again to try and stop them coming in?
Well, I mean, 12% really isn't that much of a lead if you can hold it for a few seconds uncontested.
Quad is just about to run out though, so they're going to lose that bit of an advantage.
Now, they were able to get that soul back because they had access to quad damage. So if miasma can take this soul really early, while the quad damage is not in play, they might be able to kind of undo some of that work. 200 rockets, and Sorlag still alive. She is a tanky lizard thing.
2 minutes, though. I mean, that lead, the 22% Miasma had already gone. And 2Z now with that 30%, that's quite a strong one. And here's that area denial acid trying to come into play. Not going to do too much damage by itself, but again, it's deterring. It means you can't run in certain areas. There's no way you can juke. It just limits how much space you have to move around.
That was fantastic placement. The plasma trail right on top of the teleporter and the gauntlet. I mean, that is just Death City.
It's a lot of damage waiting for you on the other side, and in a lot of situations you really can't avoid to not use that teleporter. You have the time, and Demon with a quick frag thanks to the Dire Orb.
But now 2Z comfortably with the soul back, and that lead is going to ever so continue throughout this round. Miasma have to make something happen right now. They can't afford for the divide to be as big as it's becoming. 20 seconds from the power-up.
Well, every second that passes is going to make it harder and harder for Miasma to bring this one back. They had a good lead, but already double the progress is done on the side of 2Z. This was a quick double, but because he's hesitant to just run in and get this soul back as 2Z respawn already. A nice amount of impact damage coming through on that soul lag, but actually able to survive it.
Now we're going to find out what the progress is on this power-up. It's going to be protection. It looks like Miasma have that protection on hand.
20 damage
20 damage railgun. That is why protection is so important. And it's an injection. Anarchy at this stage can tank 5 rails.
Juvenile, though, he's going to be one of the hopes to get this back. Nice use of the LG. If they let Juvenile take this, he will probably be able to get it back safely. He has some teammates, but we can see 2Z they're trying to stop. They go through the teleport. The gauntlet out again. It's going to drop it off, but how long can they hold it? We know that 2Z are here trying to seize it back.
There's a massive attack for Juvenile. And the Sorlag is just so tanky. None of that damage mattered. Silence gets finished off, but losing the Anarchy there, just losing at least one gun when you're trying to defend an obelisk is big news.
Oh, a nice quick rail from Juvenile. And Miasma, oh, another one too, back to back. Miasma doing a great job of being able to tie this one up a little bit. And he was able to stop it off, so at the very least, that's progress being stopped.
Well, because there was no one there to actually guard it, the important thing there was that actually, even though Anarchy died, the fact that he got the obelisk and before dying was able to throw it away from the door where Claws was lying in wait, like that was a great win for 2Z. Once again, going in for that rocket jump with Sorlag, hand in hand with her bunny hop passive, just keeping that speed, going even faster.
Oh, jumping down, it's going to be a Sorlag 1v1. Don't think he's going to take it.
The thing is, Sorlag can happily just go through that acid because she's not going to take the tick damage at all. But the point blank, regular shotgun.
Hey, and once again, regular shotgun is just doing a lot of work.
It definitely seems like the preferred weapon within Sacrifice because you're point blank so often.
Only 10 health left on the side of this, so it's going to take him a while to top himself back up again.
Miasma pulling this one back, Silent Step trying to get out of there, taking the rocket damage instead. Thinking he's going to get away, and the damage of the rocket is way better than the damage he would take from the enemy. Now they've delivered it. But here comes the power-up. Every member of 2Z was on the obelisk there. The protection, it's going to be protection, and that's going to allow Anarchy to get away. If that was quad damage, Anarchy 100% would have died.
But Juvenile managed to position himself. All of 2Z came to try and stop him getting the power-up, but they weren't able to stop him, so now they've lost the power-up and the soul. They are here on the point, though, trying to stop him from getting in, but one already has fallen. The protection keeping him nice and topped up. The gauntlet, it doesn't do enough damage to kill him.
And
he's
the
picking up health.
injection!
Oh, and there's the trail.
Actually, the soul manages to go back. Somehow they lose the soul. I wonder actually what happened there. They had the soul in hand, and it just went into the hands of 2Z.
Not quite sure, but Latremi was able to sneak through and get hold of it. He has plenty of health left to go. 2Z here, ready to stop. 10% left in progress to go. That was looking to be such a great sequence for Miasma. Demon getting a nice amount of frags, though, trying to seize this one back, but 5% left to go. Miasma are losing all the room for error they had before.
Trying to take that soul back. Demon with it in hand. He's going to get that mega. It's going to make that such a crucial mega to select right here. Silent Step, surrounded, but he gets one frag. And a couple of missed rails. Crucial misses in this last-minute situation.
Even though they did all die, he was able to cleanly throw the soul. Juvenile trying to throw it back, but 2Z have all the people there. They will be taking it back. Lunas tries to jump over, trying to throw it as close to the obelisk as he can.
Even though he got fragged, he was able to throw it nice and far into his own obelisk, regardless of what happened. Lying in wait, Demon with another gauntlet. His gauntlet so far have been on the money every single time. He's going to get another mega right here, making the trail towards their own obelisk much better, but look at the percentage. 2Z just need 3 more %. Miasma cannot afford at all. They need to make this defense now, and they need to hold it for the rest of the round.
Right. They've started it well, though. They just fragged all 4 of 2Z. They'll have a few seconds to sort of collect themselves. 2Z are split off into pairs right now. 3% left to go for them to win. Miasma have to hold this the whole time. There's the plasma trail coming in. The area denial being a complete nightmare, but he's going to die anyway.
Goes down with no frags. Commits suicide from Silent Step. Power up spawning in 7 seconds.
This will be the last power up of the game, and it will be the difference between who wins and loses.
Here comes next on Ghostwalk trying to time it. The quad damage comes out, so whoever gets quad is going to die. I kind of feel like every single person probably wanted that to be protection. Silence though. And if there's one person on 2Z...
They managed to take the soul away!
And that must have been the decision. That must have been the decision where if they're going to get power up, we're going to get the soul. And it was a great decision. They only needed 3%. If they get the power up and bring it back, who cares? By that time, 3% would have already ticked down. And that's that.
I mean, that was the choice that Miasma made. They opted to just deny that power up. I mean, they had 30% left to hold off to. Holding off 30% from an enemy team that had the quad, or I suppose even worse, the protection. You know, trying to deal with a team that has that almost unkillable person in a team fight. Like when you focus down protection, the rest of them kill you. You don't focus them down, the protection person just never dies. It probably was weighed out in that sort of clutch last-minute decision that is it worth holding it for 30% versus power-up, or do we just make this risk and secure the power-up first?
But what do you do in that situation? Because they were in a position where they couldn't afford 2Z to take that power-up. Because if they took the power-up, they would have probably swarmed it, and it was quad damage. And the quad went into the hands of Silent Sep, who was a stacked-up Sorlag. So a stacked-up Sorlag with quad would have easily taken the soul from that obelisk. But on the flip side, I think 2Z just acknowledged that that actually was the scenario that Miasma had to deal with. So they took the next level and said, well, they kind of have to go for the power-up here. So why don't we just run in, take the soul, deliver it immediately. By the time they're at our obelisk, that 3%'s already gone.
But it was a hard decision to make, but regardless how that map went, they're going to have to shake it off as we go into our second map, which is going to be Lockbox. This was Miasma's choice, so I think it's safe to say they're probably going to be more comfortable on this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is their map choice, and as ZSX mentioned, it's a map that complements their playstyle really comfortably. Are we going to see Slash again? We are indeed, so this is going to be the strat that 2Z brings to the table, and I mean, it was put to great use. There was so much area denial on the side of 2Z. On Lockbox, which is very close quarters, it's going to be harder to get away from the acid. It's going to be harder to get away from the plasma trail. And they've got the fundamental strength of Ranger with his damage and mobility. They've got Anarchy, who, I mean, Anarchy already is dangerous in Sacrifice. But now you've got all this extra utility and Anarchy.
I actually think that this is a very complete lineup coming out from 2Z though, especially on Lockbox, because you've got Sorlag, who is never a bad choice on this. You've got the Anarchy that is just so strong, the Ranger that always does good work, and now you just throw a Slash on top of that. And now, let's not forget, Lockbox is that small, close quarters, slim corridors. She is really fast, hasn't got the lowest amount of health in the game. I can see her being quite powerful on this map.
You just got to be able to make that run from one obelisk to the other, and on this map in particular, it's small corridors is how you take that trail. The only element to Lockbox, though, is even though they are small and thin corridors, there's quite a lot of them because you have a couple of ways to take it through the middle. You can go around the left-hand side, you can go through the right-hand side, you can do a couple of nail or rocket jumps to get to even more different locations, and there are teleporters as well. It's very unpredictable how a Soul Runner is going to make that skirmish from one side to another, and Slash and Anarchy will both do that really well. But here we go, Miasma. This is a map that they must win, but it is a map that they have selected.
So out of the 4 maps, Miasma said that Ruins of Sarnath, which is the one they just lost, was definitely not the one that... It was probably their least preferred map in the game, so now knowing that map is off the table, that will mean that the next 3 should be, well, potential 3, should have all been a little bit of a better situation for them.
Here comes Claws. Luminous as well. They have the soul, looking to deliver it towards B. DDK lying in wait, trying to deny it, but gets taken out anyway. The frags are trading left, right, and then a Demon trying to go for a gauntlet, gets it! And now he's going to deliver that towards B.
Oh, Demon managing to secure the first obelisk is going to be huge. Just getting that initial burst of percentage on the board, but 2Z immediately here trying to stop him. Goes back up to the top. Everyone is dying all over the place. Oh my goodness.
That was such an amazing sequence as well. That one throw out of the obelisk was perfectly positioned because now it's free passage for Claws to deliver towards A. And only 4%. I mean, that's not a lead really at all. Already overtaken.
They are holding off on this now. Obelisk A, we do tend to see this being the preferred obelisk in the qualifying weeks, but there has been a considerable amount of time between then and now.
Sometimes obelisks are selected out of necessity as well. There's that plasma trail, making it so risky for anyone to come through, but it's not going to stop Juvenile. However, Silent Sep will.
Still like coming through. 20% already on the board for A. This is a good lead for them considering they didn't get the first capture.
Already, that percentage just ticking down. EDK gets taken out, Juvenile soon to follow. 20 seconds, and we're going to see our first power-up of this map. It's definitely going to be a power-up that miasma needs to try and control.
I actually think Slash is consistently doing a good job of kind of just denying those power-ups though, or making that fight for the power-up even more difficult. That plasma trail damage and just general annoyance.
That plasma trail is going to make it so risky to try and take the quad. Juvenile has it, but he's so weak.
Nice shot.
Yeah, nice mid-air default shotgun.
The only problem is though, while he was trying to secure that, he wasn't able to get the soul, but it looks like, yeah, 2Z have it back immediately and a 50% secure. Or can't go in by himself. If he loses the quad damage by himself and 2Z pick it up, they will not lose that point until it at least runs off.
Oh, Tire Orb almost did it. The problem is, I don't really feel like Juvenile at this location was really able to get a huge amount off quad. There was the rest of the team following through.
He didn't get a huge amount, but they were able to at least secure this soul away. So at the very least, they might be able to get some percentage back if they can safely get through. It looks like Demon, he is clear sailing, but there was one person in his way and he was able to take him down.
Just trying to get rid of the soul. Latromi trying to navigate back. And it's been a consistent problem where it's just 2Z's ability to stop miasma in the middle of their delivery. I mean, it's been a huge deciding factor here.
Oh, nice frag coming out from Demon on the Dire Orb. Demon has been playing out of his mind already. Some of these frags have been crucial.
Demon has to make a choice here. The problem is he's so weak trying to deliver the soul safely. Maybe should have passed that towards a more healthy teammate.
Oof, he gets annihilated as well on the point. 70% already coming out from 2Z. This has been such a strong round for them.
It's just been really smart on the ball defense. And the second miasma even remotely take the soul, 2Z head them off almost immediately. They do not allow miasma to
Well,
get
the thing
out
is,
alive.
miasma have been getting the majority of these frags on the point for the last couple minutes. They're just 2Z isn't actually letting them leave the obelisk.
Stuck for quite a while. Soul out there in the open. Have to try and get it back there, but we'll see if they can pull it off. Miasma have had a hard time throughout this whole round. Juvenile looking to make the trail back, but already Silent Step waiting for him. Not enough though.
18 health left though. One more gauntlet hit would have done it. Silent Step was trying to let him land on something
Here we go.
sharp and unfortunate.
It's going to be quad claws with that gauntlet in hand, but again, this is going to be the classic. The second you get access to it, Liz with a fantastic sequence with the quad damage. A quad damage super nail gun is one of the absolute most dangerous weapons.
It's just that 80 damage per shot. It's hard. That is a machine gun railgun when you have quad damage.
It's really dangerous as well because miasma, they got the quad really early, but unfortunately Claws manages to take him out, and here we go. Now he has the quad damage. I was about to say they had the quad damage so early, they would have been able to defend this entire sequence, but unfortunately Claws have just snatched it away, and now he himself is going to be so difficult to stop.
Yeah, 2Z would have taken it, but miasma was actually trying to stop him, but I think it's just EDK by himself, at least trying to throw it back, but unfortunately hits the wall and cannot send it through.
Juvenile was the last man standing, and his reward is no doubt going to be another soul delivery.
All right, so miasma, a nice 35%. 2Z do have a commanding lead, but if they can hold this for a while... Oh dear, Silence up getting that frag too.
There's just too many people on the point. These massive group attacks. There's only one person here, so let's trying to defend, but there's so many people that actually gets a double. Gets every single frag he needs. Another frag goes down. 4 also. And I mean, that was completely the defense they needed. Like, they couldn't have a single frag go.
They've woken up. They're starting to defend the way they need to. So many frags coming out. The plasma trail pop just to try and get as close as possible, but he will fall down. EDK is going to put a stop to Claws there.
Now, if they can continue to hold this location.
The issue is miasma actually. Miasma seem to be finding themselves with low health a lot of the time, and it takes them quite a while to top up. There's only so many pickups they can take.
Quite a few members there trying to take the soul. They've passed it back. Plenty of members of 2Z to follow. Tromi going really quickly with the acid tick. He's going to die before the tick, but no, sees to it with the injection at the last minute. Very clutch activation.
Now that right there is why Anarchy is so powerful. We just saw him cleanly get from one obelisk to the other in just a matter of seconds, thanks to clean movement and no one being in his way to interrupt him. But there's so many routes and there's only so many people that you can actually use to stop them from running through.
Now, miasma are in big trouble. Claws has the quad damage, 10% left. That's all they need. DDK gets surprised, and there really isn't much you can do in that fight. The quad damage, it just means you do so much more damage in a 1v1.
The important thing is, though, 2Z aren't currently capturing. Even though they have the quad damage, Juvenile is waiting it out. Maybe he's just waiting out that quad damage.
That's definitely something that we see used quite often. We saw it particularly in week number 2. The second the power-up goes and it's not in the favor of one of the teams, the Soul Carrier kind of just hides. They'll just wait out the power-up. And because of that, actually pay attention here. Miasma have had the Soul the entire time. Juvenile hid away the whole duration of quad damage. And now they're delivered it.
Miasma are playing this so much better now. The longer this round goes on, they are working way better as a unit, and 2Z are struggling to seize this back.
That was well played. That was just a good decision and perfectly executed. He didn't get found once.
Going through him again, Miasma here just ever so slightly out of the point trying to defend.
Oh no, the rocket went through the hole in the floor. Actually a design thing in the map. You see these small little grates, so rocket can indeed pass through them. Dual wielding DDK. Claws has the delivery. Plasma Trail can't quite get away. No, gets a flick rail at the last minute, but it's not enough.
DDK ready in position to intercept and take it back. Juvenile on the Anarchy. It is his job to drop this back off. That's exactly what he's going to be doing. Miasma bringing this one back 1% at a time. Only 10% in the difference now.
There's only a 10% difference, and there's 28 seconds until the power-up spawns. Unfortunately,
what a throw, Silent Seb.
That one toss towards outside the obelisk might have wasted just enough time, if that even matters. They get taken out. A little bit of Plasma Trail, but at this stage, it really is back and forth. Power-up spawns in 10 seconds. Miasma, they've got to make a choice. Do we push the obelisk or do we get the power-up?
Last time they chose, and unfortunately it wasn't the correct choice in the end, but right now, are they? Yeah, looks like they're here trying to stop, but another frag. I'm not quite sure if they have the people here to stop. There's 2 of them here trying, but so much damage coming out from these rockets. 2 of them here trying to stop. Demon gets a frag. This could be the start. Lith gets another one, but Lith drops on the point, and so does Demon. Latromi defending with the shotgun, probably sealed it.
He gets a triple. There's one more point in here, but
quad damage too.
That's the dangerous situation. They had a valiant attempt, but here comes a Silent Sep with quad damage just to clean house. The second he arrived at that point, I mean, that was all she wrote.
I mean, that was one of those situations of you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you don't go for the power-up, Silent Sep gets quad damage and just wipes the entire team out. If you do go for quad damage, they just capture the point and win. I mean, ultimately, that was the only thing that Miasma could have done in that situation, really, I think, is just try and seize the obelisk back to just try and stall some time to stop the capture. Because even if they got the quad damage, they would have lost out to capturing points anyway.
2Z looking unbelievably strong. This was Miasma's voice, and another double from Silent Sep. The strength of Sorlag, she's so lethal on sacrifice. DDK gets the soul first. Juvenile passes it over towards. Now they've delivered it. They've swapped around the obelisks. This might be a lifeline they need.
Juvenile here trying to stop Miasma. We're able to start things off at the very least this time, but we saw that last time as well, and it didn't quite work out.
I honestly find Slash to be such a dangerous champion in this map, because now you've got not just Anarchy, who can make a run towards an obelisk really fast. Slash does the same thing, if not a little bit faster when she activates the Plasma Trail. And it doubles up as an attack and a defensive tool. Having both of them together looks so effective to make these runs.
Juvenile got milliseconds away from getting through the teleport, but wasn't quite able to make it. DDK, though, ready and waiting with the railgun to intercept.
Another one. Taken out there, but not for an impressive double. Very minimal percentage difference right here. 2Z with 5%, Miasma 7.
Oh, a nice amount of tracking, though, coming out from Juvenile. Good use of the LG so far. It's going down to the damage over time, taking Silent Sep is going to get himself a nice double, but he's going to go down himself, and another double coming out from Demon. Demon's frags have been on point, but he's going down to damage over time. One more tick.
Oh! But it gets passed over to DK. Unfortunately, so many members of 2Z just waiting for him. Juvenile going in with the gauntlets, still chasing it down, gets 2. And that Anarchy Gauntlet is just a dangerous combination. How do you get away from that?
But this is going to be a situation of we're going to see how 2Z can capture the other obelisk. They're forced onto B this time. How are they going to be as comfortable there? Remains to be seen.
4 seconds, 3 seconds until power up. Now we have the first big game changer.
Your team has the protection.
And it's going to be protection. Sounds like 2Z have the protection in hand, but he's completely surrounded. But it doesn't really matter. He's still so healthy. Not really particularly interested in doing much there, apart from just wasting time. And the time that he wasted really allowed him to allow the rest of his team to drop the soul. completely uncontested, in fact.
But again, protection on Latromi is just proving time and time again to be difficult. I like how both teams are just opting to give this power up to the Anarchy mainly, because I mean, it's working out for them well. Demon goes down.
If that was any other circumstance, that Dire Orb would have killed 100%. Just like that, 2Z have the lead. And it's going to be slowly climbing as we go. Demon railed. And as these frags go down, this is going to just take a nice chunk. I mean, roughly 5% before they have a chance to get back here. All 4 of them got wiped.
Also, when they're not dying at once and they're dying one at a time, those respawns are going to be slightly staggered as they come up. But fortunately, respawn timers aren't too punishing, so it's not going to be the biggest problem in the world, especially earlier on in the round.
But Latromi almost just absolutely killed himself. He had 1 health left, still alive though. He's trying to sort of take the soul, but running in by himself, there's not much he can do to survive that one, not with how many members of 2Z are just sitting in that high ground.
Especially against the Super Shotgun, the amount of damage, and especially considering that is spawning here with them on the point.
This is a 4-man defense. Every member healthy. DDK going in with the dual wield, but unfortunately takes 100 damage and a little bit extra on top just to finish the job.
Juvenile going to get that frag down. Is there enough for 2Z here to stop him? The acid's coming through. There we go, Claws with another gauntlet kill. I mean, that's Slash and Sorlag together. You're not moving against those champions.
Power-up spawns once more, 13 seconds away. This is a power-up Miasma need, and I mean, they can't really afford to now try and take the soul in this situation. There's plenty of percentage left, but here comes Claws, denying the teleport with... Oh, but he missed the jump! He missed the jump! Protection is still anyone's power-up to take!
Oh, no, he missed it as well!
Oh no, he got pushed away by the LG. That's so unfortunate. Claws with the capitalization. Finally has it, but he's so weak he can't survive. DDK with the rail.
Now goes to the way of silence. He has been incredible so far. Quick gauntlet just to shove Anarchy out of the way in rude fashion.
Just look at how much of that protection is left on Sorlag in particular. Like, what are they going to do to stop him?
But
there's
also,
10%. There's going to be 10% left and plenty of protection left to go.
I mean, this is a bit of a miserable situation for Miasma to be in. There is just a few percent left to go. A protected Sorlag who's on the point, but it's taking a lot of damage, but it's all lightning guns. It's taking so long to burst her down.
And she's still got the acid spit, and it did so much in that last minute situation. I mean, there's 1% left. There's 1% in this. If they deliver the soul, it's pretty much going to be game over. They have to kill him right now, but they weren't looking at him. He got a last minute injection as well. And that's it. Game over. 2Z, move on.
Miasma going down 2-0. I mean, that really was a set that was predicted to go either way. First map was very demanding. Second map, less so, but still looking good for 2Z. I think this lineup, and obviously Sorlag being there, I think Slash and the 2 Sorlags being on that lineup is kind of appropriate to really how that map went. And I think Slash might be a bit of a sleeper hit this weekend.
It kind of looks to me very much like 2Z have been, they've done a little bit of innovation here. They really have been innovating the way they want to approach this game mode, and I feel like their champion composition on top of just their natural skill, their awareness, their teamwork, their ability to pass the soul. Even if they take the soul and they go down, before they go down, get that one crucial throw of the soul out of range so that someone else can follow up. And even if they die, the soul is still going to go away. And in that essence, everything worked out for 2Z perfectly. So, huge congratulations to them. We'll be seeing Miasma within this tournament because they're now down into the losers bracket. But while we prepare the next match, we're going to throw guys over to the analyst desk.
I'll tell you what, the one underestimated, unshouted out talent during that second map is production, because that stage looks absolutely gorgeous, does it not? That looks incredible.
I've got no words for it. We're definitely one of the best stages I've actually seen. They've done such a great job.
Yeah, that looks absolutely incredible. But less about the stage, talk more about the games. 2Z, they move on after a 2-0 sweep. Dan, give me your thoughts on 2Z. They're looking good.
They looked super good. I think you can see the actual time invested paying off there, the analysis they've been doing, the VOD analysis, their homework paying off in the fact that they had different picks, exceptional coordination, incredible combat skill. And I honestly, from what I've been speaking to other players, from speaking to Miasma, I felt Lockbox was slightly in their favour, but it just wasn't even close.
Yeah, definitely. On this map especially, I was quite impressed by Claws because of the fact that when they would get the obelisk at A side, he'd always hold the right side with Sorlag. So if anyone came up from the passage, he can basically spit on the acid on the floor. And then if anyone came past, and he would just literally rail him off as he comes up to him. And he's got the pillar cover anyway. So I was trying to wonder exactly how their full set will work. But at that time in the first map, when they got full set up, it was really hard to take him off, which is why he got such a huge lead.
Yeah, you mentioned the Sorlag. We're seeing her, in fact. We've seen her play quite a bit now, looking across at Sacrifice. Do you think that's to do with the amount of health she has? Obviously now she's the most tankiest class, tankiest champion inside Quake Champions. Do you think that just comes down to her survivability being a viable option? Yeah,
definitely. And the spit is also great at zoning out, particularly in Sacrifice when you've got multiple people running through it. It's insane DPS. I know Tuesday have favoured the tanky champions in the past, and their Sorlag is obviously showing how well they practiced that and used that. So it is a very big thing. Plus the movement as well is quicker than most of the other tanky champions, so you can get around the map and it suits that team atmosphere.
I thought Latromi did quite well on this as well, because when they were holding B, he would always be at bottom mid looking for info, or if he couldn't find anyone, he'd be sitting back with rail looking at top mid to see if anyone's coming across. The thing about Miasma is the fact that sometimes when they pushed in, they kind of panicked, and what they'd do is, even though they would coordinate really well going in, they would focus on more getting the actual soul back, rather than actually taking out the people who are actually sitting there up top with height advantage, rocking them. So there's a couple of mistakes here and there, but at the end of the day, we didn't do too bad.